So it's how I got my first job and my second job, and how I learned uh, my first skills. Right. So I was looking for a job and I couldn't find. I applied for a lot of jobs on the paper because there was no. We didn't have internet. I didn't have a computer. I didn't have anything at the time. There was no phone. Having a phone was it was a luxury item back then. There were, can't remember if there were phones at the time. I'm sure there were. The rich people had phones. I'm talking mobile phones. Anyway, so my mum had a connection. One of the teachers, I think, in my school, he gave another connection of a person who works or who has a big job in the hotel industry. So he introduced my mum to this person, and he said, okay, there is this hotel in Giritale in Sri Lanka. It's in the northeast part of Sri Lanka in Polonnaruwa side. And he said, okay, if he's happy to go and work there as a receptionist, because I'm from Trinity College, they knew that my English was good. So he said, okay, he can go and work. He can go for the interview on this particular day. But it was like the job was a given. So they said, ask your child to pack your bags and go and stay for at least 3 months. So I took the bus, went there with a big luggage for the interview. After the interview, I was working from the next day. I got accommodation, I got food from it because it was a hotel, and we had staff accommodation in the hotel itself. The name of the hotel was the Deer Park Hotel. It was a 4-star. It's still there. It's a 4-star hotel. Back then, it was owned by Giritale Limited. And I started working there, and I got paid about $5 a month. The conversion is today's conversion, obviously, but it was 1,500 rupees was my salary per month, and that was it, and food and accommodation. So the 1,500 was not spent because I was working all the time, and I could not go out of the hotel. There was nowhere to go, so it was savings. Everything was savings, and I was learning a lot. It was my first job. Customer relationships. It was hotels, so it was dealing with guest complaints and checking in, checking out guests. It was good experience, and it was fun, but I was getting peanuts. I was thinking one day I'm gonna stay in these kind of hotels. Sometimes I can remember. Sometimes I can remember there was a club sandwich. It was 175 rupees back then. It was a lot of money to me. And a Coca-Cola was about the same, and I was like, oh my god, I need to taste these. Sometimes I can remember once I tasted a club sandwich which a guest left. I wanted to see how good it is. I wanted to see the taste, and because I thought it must be something special. It must be really good, because if they're paying this much money for something like this, it must be really good. But it wasn't, and similarly, I tasted some of the drinks. But after some time, I got friends with the barmans and the restaurant managers, so I could eat with sometimes from the restaurant after the guests have gone. So I tasted the food and felt no different. It was the same food that we eat, but they were just paying a lot more money for some reason, which I couldn't understand at the time because I didn't have that much money. So I was spending time in the hotel, and that's when I met my ex-wife.